For coming. My name is Clarice Rosa Sharif, and I'm the Director of Public Programs at PEN America. PEN America stands at the intersection of literature and human rights to protect open expression in the United States and worldwide. PEN America champions the freedom to write and recognizes the power of a word to transform the world. Our mission is to unite writers and their allies to celebrate creative expression and defend the liberties that make it possible. This afternoon's event is part of a PEN World Voices Festival, which takes place every year in the spring. And every year, we welcome more than 165 writers and artists representing over 50 nationalities. The 2018 PEN's World Voices Festival's theme is Resist and Reimagine. Today is the last day of the festival. I hope that you enjoyed many events this week. I did. And I hope that if it's your first time coming to a PEN America event or a World Voices Festival event, you will come back again next year. I'd like to say a few words about the M word. In 2016, PEN America launched a new public program series called The M Word, Muslim Americans Take the Mic, with the support from the Doris Foundation for Islamic Arts Building Bridges program. The series has provided a platform for a wide range of Muslim American voices to address audiences on their own terms. These provocative conversations have addressed head-on a lot of the challenges facing Muslim Americans. Over the course of 2 years, the M Word has helped PEN America cultivate unique relationships and partners. We're especially thankful to our advisor, Wajahat Ali, who is here tonight. PEN America was also able to build a broad coalition and engage diverse partners, diverse audience with one common goal: to change the narrative on representation of Muslim communities in America. I'd like to say, finally, special thanks to Zeba Rahman from the Doris Duke Foundation, Firdaus Arstu, and specifically also thanks to my team, the M Word team, Hannah Essa and Omar Edman. Today, we're delighted to present such a star-powered featured event as our final M Word event for the series with Hasan Minhaj and Wajahat Ali. And it's a really beautiful way to kind of go full circle. Hasan was actually also there for our first event in 2016 when we kicked off the series. So now, I know that we're all here to hear Wajahat and Hasan, so please welcome Wajahat Ali. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Wow, thank you for that overwhelmingly enthusiastic response. That was awesome. Calm down. Auntie, sit down. Uncle, please, do not throw your chuddies. Uncle, sit down. That was amazing. Let's try to muster up excitement. Just pretend. How you guys doing? Thank you, thank you. Today is going to be a conversation about honesty and truth and reconciliation. So to start off, half of this audience is looking at me right now and asking themselves, wait, that isn't Hasan Minhaj. No, I'm not Hasan Minhaj, or Asif Mandvi, or Kumail Nanjiani, or Aziz Ansari, or Mindy Kaling. I am literally the person PEN America gets when all of them say no. I'm honored to be here as your desperate six-pick last choice to host this event. Thank you. I will take all pity applause. All pity. I will take it. All pity, applause, and laughter. This half of the audience is looking at me and thinking, Hasan got really fat and old real quick. I'm not Hasan Minhaj. Yes, two brown people could sit on the stage and not be the same person in New York City. Based on the poster, Hasan and I both had beards, and literally I got like 50 tweets, you guys look alike. So I had to shave my beard to appease the people who get confused by two brown men with facial hair. The things I do, we are actually starting on Inshallah time, or otherwise known as Desi time. It's sold out, so there's more people coming. Include them in, and when they come in, just stare at them passive-aggressively as they sit down next to you. But in all seriousness, I'm A Pakistani Muslim American. Hold the applause. No. It's great. No. It's awesome. Awesome time to be Pakistani Muslim in 2018 America. It's gone so bad to be a Pakistani Muslim, I tell people I'm a pre-partition Indian who is spiritual. It's a good crowd. Let it be known, the audience laughed at a partition joke. That's an audience full of nerds. But in all seriousness, I'm a son of Pakistani Muslim immigrants. Hassan, otherwise known as Hasan to the whites, is the son of Indian Muslim immigrants, and we are the warm-up act to PEN America's final event for the World Voices Festival featuring Hillary Clinton and Chimamanda Adichie. So based on your politics and your persuasions, this is either a sign of the American dream or the American nightmare. Welcome. If you guys don't know who Hasan is, it's amazing that you spent $45 to see someone you don't know, but I'm down with it. I knew Hasan before he was famous, and I'm going to give you my introduction of Hasan Minhaj, or otherwise as he's known as Hasan Minhaj to the whites. All right. Hasan Minhaj, Hakuna Matata. Raised on the mean suburban streets of Davis, California, the son of Indian immigrants, growing up eating dal, chawal, and listening to Jay-Z, Hasan was supposed to become part of the Holy Trinity: doctor, engineer, lawyer, failure. But along the way, when he was an undergrad at UC Davis, the comedy bug infected him. He went from amateur open mic nights to professional sets across the country to Pizza Hut commercials. You guys remember the Pizza Hut commercials? Takbir, Allahu Akbar, Pizza Hut commercials. To YouTube shorts, to a fateful Daily Show audition that led him to becoming a Daily Show correspondent during Jon Stewart's final year. And now he's with this guy called Trevor Noah, up-and-coming comedian. With his one-man show, Homecoming King, which premiered on Netflix earlier this year and just won a Peabody 4 days ago. That's right. For those of you who are the Muslimi persuasion, recite some Ayatul Kursi in the Quran and blow it at Hasan's face to protect him from the evil eye. Hasan toured the country with the show, winning people over with his personal story of identity, dorkiness, rejection, traumatic prom nights, and achieving the American dream. He leveled up when he was tapped to host the White House Correspondents Dinner last year, and he just took it to boss level when it was announced 2 months ago that he's hosting his own talk show for Netflix to premiere later this year. He still eats dal chawal, ladies and gentlemen, Hasan Minhaj. Was good?
Yeah, this is good. $45?
Yeah. So,
I just told him, I was like, $45, all right.
moving up, man.
Yeah, I know.
This, we used to have you for free at the masjid, and
I
now
know.
it's 45 bucks, and it's sold out.
I was saying, yeah, I was like, you guys could just wait to Jummah and just see me roll through.
I
and
also like it that
do
I
Q&A.
dressed up looking like his uncle, and he just came in a banyan, like literally just came in.
Not a
He
banyan,
literally
but
rolled out of bed. I like had to make my hair. I put like crap in like, what do they call the not the
Pomade?
mousse- Pomade, yeah.
There
The
we
guy
go.
gave it to me, pomade. I tried to make it poofy like yours, but
Uh-huh.
and Hasan literally just rolled out of bed. But the reason being, he just dropped his greatest creative achievement. Last month, Hasan and Bina produced the hit album Ruhi.
Oh,
Minaj.
right, yeah, baby girl, yeah.
He's the father.
Yeah, my dad, yeah. Yeah.
How does it feel?
Dude, it is crazy. Yeah, super cool. It is awesome. Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna talk about dad.
You wanna talk dad
We're gonna
stuff?
go right in.
Okay.
March, baby was born.
Yeah.
You're there with Bina. Baby's healthy, beautiful. Doctor comes or the nurse comes, drops the baby right there in your lap,
Yeah.
and you hold her for the first time.
Yeah.
What happened?
I was like, oh man, I have a girl. Because we didn't know the gender. So they called it in the room. It was like old school. And so when they were like, all right, Papa, you're going to have to call it, I was very nervous because I didn't want to get it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They pull it out. What is it? And it's like, it's a boy. They're like, what? Like,
Hasan failed.
yeah, I know.
biology.
Have you never seen? I've seen one. You haven't seen one. Like, I didn't want to do that. Then I'm holding her and I'm like, oh man, I have a girl. Like, this is all hitting me all at once. And I have a girl. I have to bring her out into the world. Oh, it's like this world.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I just became this like ultra feminist. I was just like, more people have to watch the WNBA.
Yeah.
Like, why don't more people watch the WNBA?
It's time's up.
I
every
know,
day.
and like
every day's gonna be time's up.
Like the nurse was just like, well, women don't even watch the WNBA. I'm like, you're part of the problem, Nurse Fong. You are part of the problem. She's like, all right, whatever. Yeah, it was crazy. It's so like, you have one and one,
I have
right?
two sleeping right there.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Like literally right there, just
Yeah.
knocked out by the
Yeah.
side of the door.
Do you ever think-
unattended by my wife, which is slightly traumatic that I could see my children without any adult supervision.
Right.
But we're great parents.
Oh,
we're great parents.
it's great babysitting.
Yeah.
We're all public babysitting your kids.
The
Cool.
village will take care of my children, inshallah. But yeah. But no, I mean, like, I remember when the first one, Ibrahim, dropped in my lap, apparently the nurse said I stared at him for 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was like in a trance. And then I took him to every single floor of the hospital, asking the nurses if he's cute.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, don't lie to me, man. I know you lie. And like, no, he's legit cute. And so I was like, alhamdulillah, priorities.
Are they cute, though, when they first come out?
No, they're hideous when
Yeah.
they first come out. That's, They look like monsters, but they're your monster. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Did your, you know, what a lot of
How do you explain this to people who don't have kids? Because that's the thing. I'm always trying to think about, like, how do you, especially with comedy, how do you contextualize things that maybe people haven't experienced? So how do you, or
I
you
think
just
you
like,
have to do either or, man. Like, when I was single, I slept.
Right.
Now that I have a child, I'm okay with cleaning vomit off my shirt.
but when people would do those jokes, where you're just like, I don't want to hear your dad humor, or were you like,
But
no,
you're a
it's fine."
dad now. It's all dad
I
jokes
know,
from here
I
on out,
know.
dude. That's like,
Yeah.
it's like, let me tell you the cute thing my kid did, and all the New York hipsters are like, sorry, we're going to go to brunch. And you're like, what's brunch?
Yeah.
Why do you eat eggs at 12?
Yeah. Like being married with children in like New York or LA is like,
Kids is a game changer.
yeah, wearing a red hat though,
Yeah.
and like wearing a Trump hat. It's basically like, what are you doing?
Et tu?
yeah.
And they see you as a traitor, too.
Oh, to have
We
kids?
thought we were in this together, man, the wolf pack. You're like, nah, man, I like being happy and fulfilled. What? Too soon? My bad.
Nah, it's
But you mentioned something about the first thing you said, actually, when I asked you this question, I don't know if you caught it, was like, oh, I'm bringing a kid out in this world.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked that question is, for many people, they say it's an act of recklessness and stupidity for us to have babies in this age, the age of Trump, especially brown kids with multi-hyphenate names who are Muslim. I see it as an act of audacious hope and love to bring a baby out in this world. But in our communities, and I don't know if you and Bina have talked about this, like the last 3 years, I've had parents around our age who are like, I gotta give my kid a safe name so they can blend in. And we have parents self-policing their babies' names to make sure that they fit in this day and age. Did you guys have that conversation? Like, there's like 1,000 Ryans and Aidens and Adams that have been born in Muslim communities.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
And Laylas and Sophias. But isn't it frightening? They literally had this conversation. We're like, he's going to be brown. He's going to be Muslim. We're sons of immigrants. I can't give him a name like, Murtaza. So...
That's a serious name too, by the way.
Murtaza.
Irrespective of who's the president, it's just like Murtaza's a very serious
It's
name.
hardcore.
Just like my dad's name is a very serious name. Najmi is a very serious name. Can you imagine a baby Najmi? I'm kind of thinking about.
He just stares at you.
Yeah, like my grandparents being like, what's a cute name for a little kid? Najmi. All right.
And the baby just stares at you judgmentally.
Yeah.
Bina,
What's your dad's
the
name?
milking was wrong. Dude, all right, I'll take your Najmi and just double down on it. Zulfiqar.
Oh my God.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what that means? That's the double-edged sword of
Yeah.
the Caliph of the Prophet Ali. So not only the name terrifying, the name means sword.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, think
Did he
about
have a
this.
full beard and a topi?
Yeah.
He was teaching you Qaeda, and you're like, oh boy.
He had a PhD
baby
when he came
Zulfiqar.
out. No, but in all seriousness, like, think about this. Like, my friend just said it casually, and I paused them, and I'm like, we're self-policing our kids' names to make them fit in 2018 America. What does that say about our society that we're growing up in right now? Our kids are innocent. Like, I just saw your photo of your baby, cute, mashallah, smiling.
Yeah.
Like, did you think about that? Like, these are the things where you're like, dude, this is the stuff. Because you and me growing up, well, you got it worse than I did. But like, the worst thing I was called growing up was Gandhi, which is a compliment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were like, I literally said, I'm like, thank you for comparing me to a pacifist leader who, along with millions of others, overthrew 300 years of imperialism. Like, shut up, you're fat, and they punch me.
Yeah.
But kids these days,
Yeah.
they're getting bullied for simply being
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was just like, we're gonna call her what we want to call her. That was my thing. Yeah, I didn't adhere to like this, like, but we have to do this in order to, no.
You're gonna double down and own it.
I mean, we really like the name, and so I'm like, we're gonna just live the life that we want to live. Yeah.
Why Ruhi?
Ruhi is like soul. It means like your soul. So I just always thought the name was like really pretty, and yeah.
So you got the
And
first
she's
hits?
like our soul.
Did you like convince Bina to give her Ruhi, or was it Bina's?
Oh no. Bina was like, I really like this name, and I was like, yeah, I like it too. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, she has
Smart,
like
smart, happy
yeah.
wife.
Yeah.
Happy everything, man. I don't know if this is gonna. I'm gonna go here. You talk a lot about your parents. We have immigrant parents, expectations, failures.
Mm-hmm.
What are the sins of your parents that you don't want to revisit on your kid?
Oh man, that's heavy. I think we talked about this in the special, but sins of my parents that I don't want to revisit with my kids. I think I'm very lucky that a lot of the things that most kids who grew up like me, child of immigrants and stuff like that, first generation, two major decisions in their life, they sort of had to compromise on what they choose to do and who they love.
Right.
A lot of those, out of those two major decisions, basically from like 0 to 18, like we just live with Ummi and Abu and like we adhere to their rules. And then after that, those two major paths are also kind of determined by them. Yeah. With those two decisions, I got to do it on my terms. So I consider everything to be just, I'm playing with house money. I did what I wanted to do, so I live with no regrets.
Two major risks.
No, but that's all. But those are just the two only decisions you can make with your life.
Yeah.
What other decisions are you going to make? That's it. So.
That's it. The only decisions you make.
I mean, the rest. Think about it. The rest of your life is based on those two things. 70% of your life is you at work.
Yeah.
The other 30% is with your partner or whoever you choose to love. That's it. So that's life.
And the subtle joke that I mentioned in the beginning, and Hasan talks a lot about, but it's very real, is for our parents' generation, the immigrants who came after 1965. Like, dude, I'm at that age now where I don't know if like uncles like talk to you like human beings. You're like, oh my God, you have a personality.
Right.
You used to terrify me growing up, and like uncles sit and they do like sex jokes now. I'm like, you know,
that
sex?
Is so weird.
Yeah, isn't it weird? It happened. Now that you have a kid, you'll see this like opening now. It's gonna freak you out. But there is an uncle who grew up with us, my best friend's father, Sayyid uncle. Like, I was
just gonna put him out on blast on a live stream. All right, man.
He's old, you know, it's fine. But he was that uncle in our community who was like Spartan, right? Like never joked, and you never joked around him.
Right.
And he's an engineer. I thought he was like born as an engineer. And then one day, he takes me aside. He goes, "Beta, do you know what my dream was?" And I'm like, "To be an engineer?"
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, "I always wanted to be an architect, but I can never do it because I came to this country and I had to give money back. And I looked at the options. It was either math or like medicine. So I chose engineer. And see this house that I remodeled? Well, it's my dream now in my old age, being an architect." And I think we're hard on those immigrant parents of ours because they just want to protect us. Like now you're a parent, you just want to protect your kid.
Yeah.
And so what do you think for our kids? Like I think for you and not me, our two risks, the things that like our parents had to cross the freaking Atlantic. We just had to like not be the Holy Trinity and marry whoever we liked.
Right.
For our kids, what do you think, how are they going to push that forward? How are they going to Frodo it to the next level?
I can't speak on what they're going to do. I just know that I have to, I certainly hope that I can just help find what they're really into and push them towards that. And just say, look, I support you in that. You know what I mean?
So
like
Ruhi comes up to you at 18.
Yeah, and it's like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. I'll be like, hell no. No. That is a very, no, but look, if she has like a real passion and desire in that, like, you know what I mean? I want her to do what she wants to do. That to me is the bummer. I think so many times society is kind of telling you, hey, you know, you should do this, you suck at this, or it forces people to sort of double down on certain things. I mean, for us growing up, academics was the way out. It was like, that's it. That's it. And for me, I wasn't a pure academics on paper kid. Do you know what I mean? Pure GPA, SAT score. You know kids at the Dafat. Look at this kid. He's going to Berkeley, and everyone's like, this.
And
wait.
Hasan.
No, 30 seconds.
This is Hasan.
Yeah. And then like, this kid's going to Dianza. Toba. Oh, JC. He's going to JC and then go to the UC Berkeley.
You don't say like,
were
you
you
like this,
Yeah.
Mashallah.
Yeah, and so like,
You have to be a little bit subtle in the hatred.
Yeah.
But you were a smart kid. You did 8 honors classes.
No, it was like, look, it's all relative. Look, I've had conversations with white friends about this. They're like, yeah, you had a good GPA and you had a good SAT score, and I'm like, yeah, for like America, not AZN America. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Fucking Kumon and kids like. You know,
it's a different standard
for us.
Yeah,
you've been to those classes where it's just like a bunch of Honda Odysseys and Toyota Camrys pull up. I'm talking about that. What's the curve there?
This is a safe space for
average SAT
racial
scores
stereotypes,
1550. It's not a safe space. You know what? By the way, this is all relevant today.
Yeah.
You know, there's a coalition of 60 Asian American student groups, family groups that are suing Harvard for discrimination, saying that it's harder. Yeah, that Asian students are now being sort of capped, and it's going to the Supreme Court. Yeah.
That you should become a lawyer, man.
I should have become a lawyer, but that really makes me mad that at this point, Asian Americans are like, we're being discriminated. I'm like, really?
That's like the one thing we're killing it. Right?
Yeah, no, well, the thing is like, we're 30% of every university. We're straight up dunking on people, hanging off the rim, 5% of the population. And you're saying, we are, what more do you want?
We've reached the ceiling.
Yeah.
You're like, just take it. Hasan says, basically, don't be so ambitious, Asian kids.
I'm not saying...
Take
I'm
it
not
down
saying
a
don't,
notch.
look. I'm not saying don't.
I feel you
I'm
on
saying be as ambitious as you want.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if your son or daughter can't get into Harvard, don't go. I'll see you in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
To steal seats from Black and Latino students. That's where I draw the line. So, yeah.
But it's so crippling because, and I won't name names. I already named Sayyid Uncle. But many of our colleagues who've made it, and these folks know them as well. You talk to them, right? And to this day, after they've made it, like, there's a pain in them. They're like, man, I just wish my dad would come see my show. Like,
Seriously?
To this day. Even you, I remember, we're going to get to those stories.
Yeah.
And so the question then is, like, how can you, because you're the unicorn, the brown unicorn who, like, went over the rainbow and made it. And in all seriousness, like, a lot of these kids, and I have my cousin here, who I just realized is my cousin. That's what happens when you're brown. You just, like, pick up relatives. Ubaid, are you here, Ubaid, the relative I just discovered I knew in Minnesota? Ubaid, say hi.
You're really going to call him out from the stage?
So here we go. Don't worry, this is a safe space. I'm not going to name anyone.
Waj is like, I'm not an uncle. Ubaid, tumkaan, where are you? Where are you, Ubaid? I'm like, come on, bro.
Ubaid.
Don't call him out.
4.0, Ubaid. Okay, but Ubaid wants to be a storyteller, right? And I read his script. It's a really good script. He's 21. But for many of these kids, they're like, man, I'm crippled because my parents want me to do this. And then we see, and I've talked about you about this, how many potential roomies have we lost to becoming second-class engineers and doctors? You know?
Sure, yeah.
And no offense to engineers and doctors, but
Yeah.
how do we break that cycle?
Okay, look, can I just also give fair advice too?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of engineers who want to be artists who should stick to
There you go.
engineering, okay? So let's be real. Let's be real. Like,
Hasan's become full dad in 1 month.
No,
No
like,
subtlety, just crushing. He's laying the hammer down. Like.
I'm talking about, like, I'm just saying, just to be honest about quadrupling down on what
Brutally honest,
your
yeah.
strength is.
Yeah.
And so that's my biggest thing when, I don't want to continue to perpetuate the narrative of, like, these parents are so tough. I think that we are seeing, like, a huge wave over the last just 10 years.
Yeah.
What more do you want from 2004, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. 2005, Russell Peters, you're going to get hurt real bad.
Right.
November 2005. To now, it's 13 years.
Hasan
Where it's
Minhaj,
like,
Netflix
boom,
show.
boom, boom. All these things are happening. And I think there's a critical mass that's also happening online, which has been a game changer.
Yeah.
Around 08 to like 2018, where you're seeing big digital personalities pop on SoundCloud and YouTube. So I think a lot of the younger generation who's 10 or 11 years younger than me, they're seeing kids just like them in their age group make it happen. So I think that we all are sort of standing on the shoulders of the generation that
Right.
came before us. Think about the actors that were like 10 years. I think about this all the time. They were 10 years older than me.
Right.
That just because of the window of opportunity.
They didn't get it.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily get it. There weren't those roles or just.
They hit the ceiling early, even though they could have fallen much higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, talk to like Maz Jobrani about this. Maz will tell you this all the time about like the real obstacles that he had to face where just people did not know what an Iranian was.
Yeah.
Like
They
they
still
literally
don't
don't. Yeah. I mean, they still kind of don't know, but
It's just scary. That's
yeah.
what we can decide on.
But
It's
like,
scary.
but real, like that's what I'm talking. Things are getting better, and I think that my biggest thing is that we now have an amazing opportunity to communicate direct to consumer. Because I heard the same thing when we were doing Homecoming King off Broadway.
Right.
They're like, oh,
2 years ago.
Yeah, there won't be an audience for this and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yeah, just put it on Instagram and Facebook. It'll.
But you had to
and
hustle.
you did that. You did it too though with your play. You hustled too.
Yeah, I went door to door, man.
Yeah,
I was like Brown P.T. Barnum with my Samsung.
Yeah.
But mine was 2003, and things have changed because when I was doing the stage reading of the play, swear to God, an uncle came up to me and said, "Beta, this is useless. Very subtle. He says, do something useful, like protest." And then fast forward 2009, once we premiered the play in New York here in New York Poets Cafe, and the Whites gave it praise. The same uncle, the same uncle who was born in this country, I mean, it was pretty sad for me to hear, but it was encouraging. The same uncle said, "Beta, I've been in this country for 40 years. I've done everything right. I've paid my taxes, raised kids. They've all become good doctors and engineers. I wish I would have made one of them into a writer and storyteller like you, because I look at myself portrayed on television and they just make me into terrorist and cab driver. So my duas, prayers, are with you." So that was the evolution. Now 10 years later, we got you inspiring a new generation of kids. But I want to pivot to the second.
But what did you say to the uncle? Were you like, nah?
I'm like,
did you give him the finger?
Now you like me.
Yeah.
Sala, uncle.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was born well.
You Tupac hit him up?
Yeah. That's right. That's right, uncle.
Yeah.
You're not going to get those like RSVP seats. That's why the uncle had to buy the $45 ticket in the back seat. No, but you said something else. The second peg of this is marrying someone you want. And you went full-on audacious and married a woman from a Gujarati Hindu family.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
For those of you who do not know pre-partition politics, in the beginning there was a subcontinental country called India. No, there is a lot of tension, allegedly, between those two communities. And I've heard, and I just had this conversation with a mutual friend of ours yesterday, that Hasan still gets, pardon my language, shit from Muslims who now see that he got married, and Muslim women say, why didn't he marry a Muslim girl? He had to go marry Bina, who's not Hindu, but from a Hindu family. And how does that make you feel that you're repping the Browns and Muslims, and your community is now railing on you for those choices?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't get into people's personal lives. I've heard this happen before with like a lot of different people in the entertainment business. I generally don't try to go, just the way I've been raised, you don't fire shots at people's BV and stuff like that. You know what
Muslims
I mean?
do, but Muslims are different.
Yeah, but look, I think it's just not
BV
the way.
means wife, for those.
Yeah.
Just ask the South Asian.
I don't go there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've even read, that sort of thing has happened for a long time in regards to all sorts of, actors of color. Why did he marry so-and-so, or why did she marry so-and-so, and all that stuff. So to me, she was like my ride or die. We knew each other ever since we were freshmen in college. So like.
And she was with you and supported you.
She would fly her with me at shows.
When you were just that student.
Yeah. We would fly. She would help fly her for my shows and stuff like that. My open mics and stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember the advice I gave you when you were? Might as well air everything now. Right before the shadi.
What was it?
I'm like his brown Yoda uncle. He asks me, like every 6 months I get this like, Hasan has a premature midlife crisis and he gives me a ring. And I said, you've married the right person and the right woman if she's with you when you have nothing and she believes in you.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And I said,
this is when you told me the Kinko story, right?
Yeah. And I was broke. I married my wife. We moved to DC, and I had no job. This was 5.5 years ago. And my wife's like, just work at Kinko's just to spend some time doing something. And I'm like, all right. And then seriously, my wife's backstage. And
I'll never forget this Kinko story.
And 2 weeks after that, Al Jazeera America randomly gave me a phone call and said, we heard you moved up to DC. You want to come audition for a new show? I'm like, well, I swear to God, I said, I was going to apply to Kinko's. And they laughed just like you. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't tell them I'm being serious right now. But no, you married the right woman. And that's what I keep telling people. You married the woman who invested in you.
Yeah, she's my ride or die, man. Yeah.
So good for you. But give it up for Bina. All right. I like superhero origin stories because a lot of people who don't know, they see Hasan, and they're like, oh man, he's on Netflix, Daily Show. I can't get there. What about me? Oh, good for you, Hasan. I'll do dua for you. I'm nobody. I think a superhero origin story helps connect the dots, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. We met for the first time 13 years ago. Tarawi,
Oh, yeah. I remember
UC
this.
Davis Mosque,
yeah,
where I was a grad student, you were an undergrad, and you were a skinny, kid making MSA videos with your friends. Mashallah still had the same like tidal wave hair. And you wanted to be like this guy called Dave Chapley. Tell him the Dave Chapley story.
Yeah. So growing up, we didn't have cable TV, right? Like a lot of us, our parents were really strict. So you just had like your 8 channels that came standard with your television. So I didn't have Comedy Central and HBO. So during the 90s and early 2000s, that was a big wave of like a lot of comedy content, and that shaped a lot of my contemporaries' sort of comedic palette. I wasn't familiar with that stuff. The only thing I had known about sort of stand-up comedy was Seinfeld. And the beginning part of Seinfeld where he's standing in front of the brick wall. Just like, what's the deal with laundry or whatever.
That's good.
And he's always just like,
well done.
Yeah, and I'm always
good.
just like, that's the worst part of Seinfeld. Yeah, and you're always like, get to the show. So I was like, that's stand-up? I don't really like stand-up comedy. It's kind of corny. And then when I got to college, a friend of mine, you know him, Imran.
Yeah, Imran.
Yeah, right.
Who's now a filmmaker.
Yeah, he's a filmmaker now. So he basically, we went to college during the sort of like T3 high-speed internet era. So
the good old days.
Yeah, everybody was downloading you was like, I have every episode of Family Guy, I have every episode of this,
Napster.
Yeah, Napster, Kazaa,
throwback for the
LimeWire,
millennials.
that.
Google
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So we had all that, and he basically had downloaded a bunch of stand-up, and he was watching it, and I was watching the Chris Rock special, Never Scared, and I was like, oh my God, he's talking about like war, and he's talking about relationships. It was very like raw and honest.
2004.
2004. It came
yeah.
out in 04, yeah. And so then I was like, all right, I want to do this. This is such a cool medium, because I had done speech and debate and sort of public speaking in high school. And so I was watching it, and I'm like, oh, this is funny speech and debate.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's just making a funny argument.
Yeah.
And so then I Googled like how to become a comedian.
Awesome.
It's like how do
DIY,
you become a comedian?
DIY comedian.
And then it was like call your local comedy club, ask if you can perform, and then they're like, here's a fun tip: you should ask if you can be an opener for the headliner that weekend. These are just like super like geocities.com dumb DIY websites.
Yeah.
So I call the comedy club in Sacramento, and I'm just like, hey, I hear that there's a comedian performing this weekend. His name's Dave Chapley. I was wondering if I could open for him. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, Dave Chapley. If I can open for him, I'm a comedian in the area. And they were like,
Don't call again.
yeah,
prank
they were
caller.
like, go away. And yeah, it wasn't until later that I was like, man, they just really gave me the cold shoulder. How's this going to work? And then it wasn't until later that I actually went to the club. They were like, were you the Dave Chapley kid? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you should just come on open mic nights. You should come on Sundays. And sort of that's where I sort of began. I really learned, which was a great piece of advice that Conan O'Brien would actually just say later, is that there's sort of 2 real things that he really recommends is sort of move to the city that does the thing that you want to do, right? Number 2, so 3 things. Number 2, immerse yourself in a community that does that. So whether it's improv, you immerse yourself in the improv community, spoken word, comedy, whatever that is. You just immerse yourself in that community. You rise amongst the ranks. You find your class of people. So I was class of 04, all the young open micers that I started with. We're still friends today. And then number 3 is just like don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
And
you've been a nice guy.
Things will generally sort of work out.
So we'll take the DeLorean 5 years on. It's 2009.
Yes.
And you and I have very pivotal New York stories, and I'm very honored to be a supporting actor.
Oh,
in your
I
arcs,
remember
right?
this.
So this time he's in Los Angeles. He now knows Dave Chapley is known as Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He's hitting comedy circuits across the country. People kind of know about Hasan. It's October 2009, the final day of my play. It's 2 a.m. And of course, it's fard obligatory to do ziyarat, pilgrimage, to the original halal guy's cart.
Yeah, 53rd
I'm there at 2 a.m. And who do I bump into at 2 a.m.? Hasan Minhaj and our friend, who else was there?
Aman Ali.
Aman Ali.
Yeah, wait, but we have to give proper backstory. So 2009, though, it wasn't, you're making it sound like it was like, oh man, things were really popping.
No, they were not. They were not.
So I lived, this is true, I lived in Pasadena, California. I had just moved to Los Angeles.
All right.
I lived in an attic. I'm not saying, oh, it looked like an attic. No, it was an attic. This is the house. There's a thing you pull down, you go up you climb up.
That's
there's
called
monsters and
that's
gin
called
in
an
there.
apartment in New
yeah.
York. Yeah.
I live in a straight up attic. And it was like a nice attic because they had a toilet up there where you could watch like.
This is a dream apartment in New York, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
So I pretty much like lived it up there for the
Straight hustling all the time.
Yeah, it was just like an air mattress and a dream, and and so I did this thing called NACA, which is like the National Association of College, something entertainment, something like that. Basically, it's a thing that every university. You ever been at like your college and they'll have like a comedian doing comedy in the cafeteria, or they'll have like someone doing spoken word poetry in the library?
Yeah.
There's a group or board nationally that sort of books these acts, and it's a sort of stepping stone for young comedians. It's like, hey, do you want to make $800? Yeah, I do. All right, you have to be in Nebraska by 2 p.m. tomorrow. You're like, okay, let's figure this out. So I was doing the NACA run where I was, going from, I've done every single SUNY school. SUNY Oswego, SUNY Albington, all these like, yeah.
It's like the map on the wall.
yeah.
Like Hasan has all the dots.
Yeah,
for
so I was actually coming from like SUNY Albington, like way up in New York. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to come down to New York, and then I'll do like open mics in New York. I'll get my feet wet in New York. So
it's 2 a.m.
yeah, it's
You're
2 a.m.
there. We meet each other, and I just
And you come in rolling with your like rolly bag,
which
like,
I still have
like
right
your carry-on
there.
luggage.
Yeah. And I say,
Which, by the way, our lives really haven't changed that much.
Yeah, it's the
since.
same.
Just sort of like haggardly
We're
running
just-
with bags of like, yeah, I got to get to this next thing.
and
So
the universe gave us a wife and
Yeah,
kids
yeah.
somehow. And
Yeah.
I casually dropped to Hasan while eating chicken and rice. Oh yeah, I just saw Jay-Z going around the block, just putting
listening to his own album.
Yeah, listening to his own album. And Hasan literally like stops and goes, "Listen, man, don't mess around with me. Listen, that's really effed up. Did you really see Jay-Z?" I'm like, "Yeah, Jay-Z is going around the block listening to his own album, Empire State of Mind. I just saw that." He goes, "Where did you see Jay-Z? Tell me exactly." And I said,
Yeah.
and so true story. Tell me.
Yeah.
He takes my I was hungry, man. He takes my the carton, throws it away.
Yeah.
Throws his away, like slaps Aman's, grabs
Yeah.
me by the hand.
Yeah.
We get in his
We
car,
straight up got in my Hyundai Sonata rental.
which you rented. We go to Times Square, which was blocked off because that night, Alicia Keys and Jay-Z at 3 a.m. were filming the Empire State of
So
Mind
you know,
video.
like the hook of the song New York. In the part of the music video where she's on the piano in Times Square, that was happening at like
Right
3
there.
o'clock in the morning that night. And so I was like, we need to go there.
And
So
the streets
drive.
blocked off. Hasan, this is a true story. You're my witness.
yeah.
Times Square. Hasan Minhaj, Aman Ali, Wajahat Ali, 3 brown Muslim guys, surrounded by cops. Hasan sees Jay-Z and Alicia to his right-hand side. What does he do? Freezes, stops the car in the middle of Times Square. Cops bum rush us from the left
Yes.
and from the right, knocking on the window with their batons. Hasan is like this. Jay-Z. And I'm literally like, I'm gonna die with the Jay-Z soundtrack. It's a good way to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gives us a ticket that you can't afford.
$237.
That you couldn't afford. And Hasan's like, I can't afford this, but it's Jay-Z, F it.
Yeah.
We park.
Oh, and by the way, the tickets, this is how not poppin' my life was. The tickets are going home to my home address. So like my dad is just getting these random tickets from a speeding ticket in Colorado. What were you doing in New York?
Hilarious.
Then you're in Nebraska. What is happening? Yeah, so yeah.
And then,
it
and
was
then
not
we
a good
bum rush,
situation.
and we get to the gate, and Jay-Z's right there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Hasan, just be cool. And what do you do?
Oh, I start rapping to him. I just started rapping to him.
Jay-Z
I started rapping Empire State of Mind to him. So we like broke through the barricade, and he's just like,
Jay-Z
"What?"
looks at us, walks in the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
yeah,
But then a young buck by the name of DJ Khaled was there,
yeah.
and like, Hasan, don't do it. And what do you do when you see DJ Khaled?
DJ Khaled, we the best. Who? We. And he was like, and keep in mind, this is pre-Snapchat fame, so he's like, yeah.
He was like, what's
All
up?
right, yeah,
What's up?
yeah.
He gave us a
I'll
handshake.
I'll take a picture. Yeah.
The reason why I mentioned that is
It's 09, by the way.
09. This
Yeah.
was almost 10 years ago. almost, yeah, 9 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
The reason why I mention that is my wife thinks I'm like a freak because I never cry, but I don't cry. But like I think about that.
You don't cry?
Never. I know I'm a weird man. I'm like a desi uncle, Spartan. It's not healthy. My wife's
You
like,
got to get a
"You're
good
not
cry in,
human."
man, every once in a while.
It's good. But I think about those days, and I'm just here in New York with my family and my kids, and we walk past, and I'm like, 9 years ago that happened. And now fast forward, did you ever think, I felt like crying, just out of gratitude.
Really? Yeah.
Who would have thought, 9 years later?
You know what's interesting, man? Like,
now you're hanging out with Jay-Z at the, that Met?
oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, he wasn't there, but yeah, that was weird.
J-Lo, you're right.
J-Lo, yeah.
J-Lo's a good substitute.
That was really funny. Yeah, at the Met Gala, she walked by, like someone tapped me, and you know, like when I was in high school, J-Lo was like poppin', right? Yeah. And then she was like, hey, and I'm like, oh my, it's J-Lo. And then she was like, babe, and her boyfriend turns around, and it's Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, yeah.
That's Babe, and he's like, oh, it's the guy from the speech, and I'm like, oh, that's who I am to the Illuminati. I'm the guy from the speech.
I gotta mention this speech because whenever I mention this anecdote, people think I'm BSing, and I just want to clarify it. 5 years ago, now we're taking the DeLorean, fast forward to 2014.
Yeah.
You're in MTV now, your career's taken off, you're hosting a show called Failosophy.
I don't think my career is really taking off,
But
but I was
still-
paying rent.
but
I was
still,
paying rent.
Pizza Hut was dropping,
Yeah,
it was awesome.
my Pizza Hut commercial was airing.
what-
Getting good
what-
residuals.
What was this? What was the
Yeah.
thing? What was your line in the
Pizza Hut's new pizza ciders. You get 9 in a box for just $10. 10? 10. Come on, bro.
Big moment.
Come on, bro.
Big moment. All right.
People all of a sudden get on and they act like they're bigger. Come on, bro. It's Pizza Hut for life, man. If Pizza Hut called me today, I'd be like, look, I owe you guys a lot. You guys got me through 2 really tough years. And I bought an engagement ring with Pizza Hut money, so. You know what I mean? Oh, and by the way, just for the Minternet, because the Minternet loves to, creep. For the record, if you do dig up the commercial, by the way, I kept it straight halal. I am not holding up pepperoni. I'm not holding up sausage. I go, just watch the commercial, because they had other actors be like, pepperoni, and I'm like, nah, I don't do that. So I go, cheese, that's one, right? And then another one, I go, mushrooms? So all the Zabiha heads out here, you can be like, all right, man, he did it. He kept it real.
My mom noticed that.
Yeah, I go, cheese.
My mom's like,
yeah,
cheese, he did cheese.
Yeah.
Mashallah,
One
beta.
take I did, I'll go, wipe the knife, but they're like, what are you talking about? But you guys know. You guys know. See, watch, we can only do this in these type of rooms. In other rooms, they're like, wipe the knife. What sort of like ISIS recruitment?
That's the worst thing.
What is going on right now?
The worst thing you could say.
What is
That's
happening?
the worst thing you could say. Wipe the knife, says Hasan Minhaj.
Yeah.
And Wajahat Ali, whose father's name is Zulfiqar.
Zulfiqar. That's just such a dope
But
name.
your father, you
Yes.
take the DeLorean at Sacramento. I have to give a talk. You're visiting your family.
Yes.
Godfather Najm is there.
Yes.
And Hassan's there, just coincidentally. And he goes, Beta, to me, come here. Hassan's there. Put some sense into him and tell him to do LSAT. And then I became your Flava Flav that night. I'm like, Hassan's doing great things. He's on Philosophy, and he did Pizza Hut commercial. Uncle, he's going places. Have faith in him. And like, Uncle wasn't having it. Like, Godfather was just like, Beta, just what is this gonna happen with this comedy?
Yeah.
Ye kahan jayega ye comedy? Kab tak? Kab tak? And now
That's a great.
that's true. Did that actually happen?
Yeah.
And Hassan's like, Dad, not here. Like, don't do it.
Yeah.
But now, fast forward, you just won the Peabody. You got your own show. Are Abu Ammi in that generation in your community like, Beta, good for you?
Yeah, I mean, now people are very,
No, but specifically,
in the Sacramento community, they're like,
all
yeah,
it
we're
took was
very
a
proud.
Peabody and
We're
Netflix
very
and White
proud
House
of you and an
Correspondents
Emmy and all that stuff. Yeah. They're like, oh, we're proud of you. But you know what? Like, I was just telling you this. Like, to me, like that hustle never changed. Like, it still has not. We're still running with bags, and it's still just about the jokes. And yeah, that's it. Like, again, like I'm really grateful, and I'm sure you are too, that we just do what we love to do, and it's just about getting better as an artist.
but I know how much it means to you, right? Because
My parents coming
you-
around,
where you and I are
that meant a
different.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Nyla auntie coming around does not mean anything to me.
But your father, the main
Yeah,
thing
my
is,
dad coming around, yeah, that meant
the
a
fact
lot.
that your father came around, like when your father came around, like what did that do to you? Because most of your material, man, is just about, I'm psychoanalyzing your material.
Yeah.
It's literally like you asking your father to respect this decision and to make him proud.
Yeah, it's to make Mufasa proud of you, you know? So, But
to raise you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But you know what? You know what's really awesome is that like I'm very lucky. Like this is a thing where I feel lucky again for two other things. Like number one, my dad has lived long enough that we both are in each other's lives. I have a lot of look in our community. There's a lot of South Asian men. Their fathers pass away young.
Right.
Heart attack. This or things happen, right? And so they never sort of get that closure. I've been able to, alhamdulillah, like been able to see.
That's
my
your I
dad-
love
my-
you moment.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
respect you, Father.
Yeah,
But-
was
Yeah.
to be old enough to see that. And I was talking to Russell Peters about this. His father never got to see him become
yeah.
famous.
But I always believed in him.
Yeah, but always believed in him, but never got to see him. So we were able to do all these things together. My parents came to the Correspondents Dinner with me.
Awesome.
My mom straight up was sitting there in a sari. Like everything came full circle of life, right? And then the second thing is that my dad, he's really funny. He's got a great like sort of cutting sense of humor,
What they see uncles.
Yeah, yeah. But his
Yeah.
timing's really good. But every Desi uncle doesn't want to be made fun of.
Right.
And he's willing to, in a lot of my jokes, like openly be made fun of. And I give him a lot of respect because he sees the bigger message of what I'm trying to do through my comedy specials or the chats that I do on The Daily Show.
Yeah.
He sees it's more than just a punchline. I'm like sort of elaborating a bigger sort of story. And he's like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
And so I just want to do one question on Trump, the orange, thin-skinned, tiny-fingered
Yeah.
Vulgarian in chief. Too
Yeah.
soon? My bad. And then we'll move on. But a lot of people say, doing comedy is exhausting in Trump, or also it's really good, can be very limiting.
Yeah.
There's a crisis. But sometimes you get knocked, and I think it's an unfair knock for being too earnest and too hopeful. But
Oh, me specifically, or
yeah,
just in general? Okay.
but Trump's victory was an opportunity for you because would you have gone the White House Correspondents Dinner gig without Trump's election?
No. So I think that had, let's say, Hillary Clinton won the election, that host would have been Samantha Bee probably that year.
Right.
The year that I was, the host, it was like sort of like the year of the Muslim ban. It was like that was the year, right? So the WHCA probably was like, oh, he would be a good sort of fit for it. But I mean, if you want to know the real story, it was like James Corden was their first pick, and then that didn't work out because when Trump pulled out, he didn't want to do it. And then their second pick was Kevin Spacey.
Wow.
But it was before all the stuff. It was before all the stuff that we already knew. Remember? Anyways, come on, Google it. It's like everyone has known.
Everyone knew.
I'm shocked. We all knew.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was going to do it as Frank Underwood, but they just felt that him doing a character of what's already sort of a caricature is just it's too many layers of meta. And so actually me doing the Congressional Correspondents' Dinner the year before,
Right, where you killed it.
was like a good sort of litmus test for them. Like, hey, let's maybe give this kid a shot. And so 19 days before, they were like, you should do it. But I would say this. I would say when people are like, oh man, Trump must be great for comedy, I think it definitely opened up the appetite for political comedy, but I think it's bad for comedy in the sense that everybody can do Trump jokes.
Like, how long can you do kafefi for?
Yeah. So everybody has, everybody's pointed towards the same target. And the target generally opens itself up to the lowest hanging fruit of type of jokes, right? He's so dumb or he's so this. And so to me, it's forced me to try to up my game to talk about other issues that are on the table.
And so specifically when it comes to political comedy, like Daily Show, how does it force you guys to up Daily Show's game? Because back in the day, I'm old enough to remember when Daily Show was actually the fake news. And now we live in a world where facts are seen as alternative facts and fake news is the bubble, and Daily Show is actually more trusted than Fox News.
Right. Well, it depends who you ask.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
And so how do you guys navigate political comedy, specifically The Daily Show, while circumnavigating the age of Trump, which I think will last beyond Trump?
Oh, you think it will?
I think this whole, I think the gin's
Pandora's
out.
box.
Yeah, I
open.
think gin's out.
Yeah, I think, look, that definitely comes from a top-down approach. That starts with John and with Trevor. They sort of approach the desk with their specific take on how we want to talk about Acts 1 and Act 2 this is going to get super nerdy, but yeah, how we break down Act 1 and Act 2 that's the bread and butter of every day. What do we want to not only say about what has happened, tell you what's happened, tell you why it's happened, and then third, sort of have a comedic take that sort of encapsulates everything that's going on. That's really what our job is, what's happening in the world, think of it as like coffee. It's like there's a lot, and then you boil it down into its core essence of espresso. That's really why people tune into The Daily Show or any of these shows. It's like, all right, make sense of all this stuff for me.
And you think you're up to the challenge? You think it's forced you to step up your game?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm in like, I've had to do honors gov like over and over again to be like, how does impeachment work? Like, you know, like all
But
these
you
things.
feel like Nerd Life has prepared you for this moment.
Yeah.
All the AP
No, but
classes have prepared you.
But you know what's
Minhaj.
wild? this is just a commentary on the entertainment industry. Like, cerebral is sexy now. Like 10 years ago, do you guys remember? Every comedy movie was about like man babies.
Yeah. Knocked Up.
Knocked Up. Will Ferrell. It was about grown adult men in diapers that are like, I don't want to grow up. It was like, like those movies. That's not as popular anymore. Like, you know, sort of like intelligent comedy.
You got one applause.
Yeah,
That's one.
you know, people are like,
there you go. That person hates Will Ferrell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The one person on earth that hates Will Ferrell.
So, but it's working out for what my general interests are. Yeah.
But then it takes me to the second point. That do you believe an artist and comedian, especially with your role, your stature, at this moment, has a specific power and responsibility, to quote Spider-Man, who quotes Uncle Ben, who quotes Voltaire, to use your talents to resist?
So I think that boils down to every artist. I've
Every
heard,
artist across the medium.
No. It depends from artist to artist. There are certain people that are like, why isn't so-and-so joining the resistance? And I'm like, have you heard their music? Like, what is Lil Yachty gonna do to help the resistance?
Give us good beats.
Yeah, everyone has a very specific
Right.
sort of skill set and superpower, and I think it's everyone's personal choice to maximize that skill set and superpower to do something positive and good in the world. However you
Everyone.
see fit. Yeah, I mean, however you see fit. Like, so to me, I think you should be authentic to who you are.
You know why? I know why I think the world is ending. Why it's Yom al-Qiyamah.
No, it's
As
not
they were
ending,
saying.
man. It's not ending.
You know
for me,
why?
bro.
It's because in our South Asian Muslim circles, the two professions that got mocked the most are respected: storytellers and lawyers.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because like every Desi uncle thinks they've come up with this joke. Beta, you're not a lawyer. You're a, wait for it, liar. And now in 2018, you see Americans rally around storytellers and lawyers to literally prop up this new narrative of America and withhold institutions. Isn't that
Right.
crazy? Like
Yeah.
the world's ending.
Yeah.
Or there's a brave new world.
Yeah, I
where
think it's awesome.
We clean our.
I can't wait. By the
lives.
way, just in general, I can't wait to see the next 15 years of
Yeah.
where entertainment and art is going to go. Like, I can't wait to see. There's going to be.
Where's it going to go?
I think there's going to be a lot more brown female voices. I think there's going to be just like. I think as guys, if you think we had it tough, like I've talked to my sister about this. What to be a Muslim girl growing up in sort of like Desi households or Arab households, whatever it is.
Times 100.
Yeah, it's times 100 the pressure we had to face. But I think what's going to happen is pressure makes diamonds, and so
Yeah.
that art and that perspective is going to be really, really exciting to see. And yeah, I can't wait to be there.
Okay, I have a couple minutes left, and so I can't excuse you without talking about the whites. I love the whites. Some of my favorite friends are the whites. We love the moderate whites. There's a lot of white gatekeepers here. Thank you, white gatekeepers, for your power. But look, we know all the stats, right? Like,
Yeah.
despite this diversity buzzword and despite the fact for the wins, PEN America did a study, came out 2 years ago. 90% of editors and publishers are still white. Hollywood, 500,000 Academy Award members, 94% white, 67% male, average age is 62. We know all the stats, the gatekeepers, right? So the question I have for you is, how do you make a sell to the moderate whites? Why is it in their interest to help elevate our narratives and voices?
I think what I try to do is there's two things. So there's when you think about things sort of pragmatically and then optimistically, right? So with like your head in the clouds and then your 2 feet on the ground. So yes, when your 2 feet are on the ground, we live on Earth, and those are all the rules according to all the stats and the trend lines, et cetera. But if you're out there trying to, finance your film or put out that sketch on YouTube and you want people to sort of click on it and like it, you have to think optimistically. This record's going to go, and everyone's going to love this SoundCloud link, right? So to me, I operate from a perspective of I'm playing offense. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm asking for your support. You want to support me? Cool. But the train is leaving.
Yeah.
The play is running at Cherry Lane
We're
Theater.
doing this.
Yeah, 8 weeks.
We don't need permission.
You want to come?
Right.
come. If you don't want to come, the check is already cleared. I already paid the rent on the building.
Mashallah.
I already paid, right? I already paid for the publicist.
Yeah.
It's happening. So to me, like, that's what I advocate with everybody, every young artist. I'm like, every artist you love thinks that they're an anomaly. Kanye thinks he's an anomaly. All these guys are like, I am going to make this happen. Yeah. So they act like it. So they're like, yeah, I'm going to generate this momentum, and everyone is going to follow suit.
That's what you did with your career.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there are definitely things that push against that, but my advice is to create not only the momentum and the leverage, but to also have for them to recognize the movement that's happening and to see the dollars behind that and be like, wow, this is a Black Panther level movement.
When there's diversity, higher ratings, higher revenue.
Sure, yeah.
It's proven.
Yeah, and so to me, but that requires, talk to anybody, talk to Ryan Coogler, talk to any of these great writer-directors. Right. They play offense. They're like, no, I knew this was going to be great, and I pursued it that way.
So we got
modern
whites.
stats.
Are you convinced? Yes? All right, okay. Final 2 minutes, I got the signal to go.
Wait, Waj, don't even make it. I don't care who it is, whether it's the whites or the uncles who are haters. It's happening.
It's happening.
It is happening. Whoever, whether you like it or not, I'm putting up points on the board. It is happening.
Inshallah.
Games to 12. It is happening. Like, what you're doing is you're doing this.
No, it's
happening.
No. I'm not a fakir.
Do you hear the stats?
I'm not a fakir.
But that's offense versus defense.
We're playing offense.
Yeah, it is happening.
We're going for the appetizers.
The movie is playing at AMC. You can come or not come. It's happening. So that's the punchline for me. And for any artist, I think, if you're making stuff, you are playing offense. You are not playing defense.
I have 1 minute left, literally, and I just found out 6 months ago that I have a relative, and my mother said to ask this question. Speaking about playing offense for young brown Muslim talent, Ubayd asked this question.
Oh, great.
He said, with 1 minute left, Hasan uncle, do you have any advice for a Muslim that wants to be a comedy writer or a comedian?
Yeah. So I would just say those 3 things that I just told you, where you have to move to the city that does the thing that you want to do, immerse yourself in the community, and rise within the community. So you have to be the best comedy writer or the best comic in your local open mic night. So when you go to that open mic and it's a Tuesday open mic and you have to buy 2 cups of coffee to go up and you see the 28 names, your job is when you go into that open mic that Tuesday at Cafe Java or wherever it is in any town in America, you're going to go, I'm going to be one of the top 2 or 3 comics out of these 28. Period. And then once I do that, I'm going to be nice to everybody. I'm not going to be an asshole. I'll be nice to everybody. And then probably the 4th thing is I will create leverage for myself.
Right.
So I'm going to run my own open mic, and I will extend olive branches to other people in the community. Come do my mic. And you're going to make it one of the best shows in the city. And then other people in the city are going to be like, man, Ubayd's show's really, really cool. And then you're going to take that leverage, you're going to move to a bigger city or another opportunity, and you're going to continue to rise. And you're going to never stop that hustle. You're always going to be the guy who's producing the best open mic at Java City, just at scale.
Ubayd, that's what I told you, right?
Yeah.
He just said it. Yeah. I told him he has to Daft Punk it through life. You got to do it harder, better, faster, stronger,
but
smarter.
no more asking. We're just doing it.
Just do it. Give it up to Ubayd. Ubayd, do it. All right. We're out of time. I wish we had more time. I promise we'll finish. We have 30 seconds, so I actually made it in time. Wajahat Ali finishes in time.
Yeah.
There was a hashtag for this. It's very subtle, called #MuslimsInAmerica. Post your thoughts on Twitter. And,
oh, boy.
And this goes full.
I can't.
Talk about the sword and the knife.
Open that up? All right.
The sword and the knife. But everything goes full circle. This is PEN America's M-Word series that started 2 years ago, which was to uplift and amplify American Muslim narratives that are oftentimes excised or seen as sidekicks or villains. Hasan, a year and a half ago, was basically our first launch pad for this series. Remember at Joe's Comedy Club?
Yeah, that was great.
This was pre-Netflix, pre-White House Correspondents Dinner. We've come back a year and a half. We're ending it with Hasan Minhaj right here in New York City. So give it up to PEN America, M-Word. And finally, if you have money and wealth, we want to do more of these. Hana Isa is the right-hand woman, like the non-evil Michael Cohen of Clarice, who made this happen. Hana's looking for a job right now. She told me I could say this to you. Give it up to Hana for making this happen for 2 years. And give it up Give it up to my brown sister from another mother, Clarice, who was the maven for this for the last 2 years, for making this happen. And if you have access to support, tweets, wealth, tell PEN America to do another round of the M word. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're out.
Thank you, man.
That's fun.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Yo, Hasan asks, very desi. First thing he asked me was it good? Was it good? Was it good?
It was good. Thank you, guys.
Eyes on Hasan at Handi's.